LGBTQ youth of color, such as myself. I have been stopped numerous times by police in the West Village and Chelsea neighborhoods. For instance, I was stopped and frisked 3 years ago when leaving Chi-Chi's, a primarily African-American LGBTQ club in the West Village around 2 a.m. with a group of 4 friends who were transgendered women and gay men. As we left the club, we were immediately stopped by police, who told us to put our hands on the wall. They told us it was a routine search. There was no reason to believe that we were committing any crime. But we did what they told us. I was facing a wall, they pat my arms down, ran their hands in between my chest, patted my pockets, then went inside my pockets and pulled my wallet out. Checked my ID and made sure none of us had any warrants, then told us we were free to go. But we better not be around when they came around again. After they walked away, I felt violated. I felt like they took something from me. I felt demoralized. I felt like I wasn't safe. I was afraid that they would lock me up for just being in the area. So I got on the train with my friends and left the area. What I took from this experience is that when dealing with NYPD, it's either put up or shut up. This kind of thing goes on every day. Young women in SAS report being sexually harassed by East New York cops every day. Trans women in SAS being asked who's the top in Prospect Park by cops assuming they were going to have sex in the park. One trans woman in the same park had her condoms and her right to protect herself taken away by police, while New York City promotes safe sex to this day. This is why we need a law that would create accountability and transparency for the NYPD. This is why we need the Community Safety Act bill, especially the profiling bill, which would stop discriminatory policing based on race, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, and age, and the bill to stop unlawful practices and searches like the one I was subjected to, just for being who we are and looking the way that we do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shannara Rennie. I am 17 years old and I am a member of Black Women's Blueprint. Black Women's Blueprint fight for Black women and Black girls' rights, and we feel that what happens to women and girls have to be included in advocacy to end stop and frisk. I have been stopped and frisked by the police at least 6 times. I organize with at least 20 other young women who have been sexually harassed by the police and felt they were touched inappropriately, plus the one who was beaten by 6 officers, slammed to the ground after that. The day after I found out my father died, November 31st, I just wanted to be locked in my room with all my thoughts. Eventually, I ended up getting dressed and left the house. Me and my sister took the 5 train to Bloomingdale's. On our way back, I swiped my school Metro card. There were 2 police officers who asked me why I swiped my Metro card. I then asked her what she meant why I swiped my school Metro card. She asked me again, and this time I did not answer. My sister said, "What's the reason for the questioning? It's after school hours." She then went on to explain to the officer there was a death in the family. The officer then started to search my bag. She then said, "If there were a death in the family, why are you buying Burberry?" The officer pulled me aside and asked me if I had anything illegal on me. She verbally insulted me by calling me mentally retarded. They then kept us there for an hour and harassed us, frisked us, and found nothing on us. I personally feel there must be something New York City can do because it happens all the time. One thing I do think they should start doing is videotaping all stops so that when something like this happens and someone presses charges, it's not your word against the police. Pass the Community Safety Act.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Antoine Williams, and I'm a program associate at the Center for Constitutional Rights, which is a nonprofit human rights organization that's dedicated and committed to doing work in the public's interest. And I'm here tonight to talk with you all about my experience being stopped and frisked. In March, I was at work, and I was working a really long day, about 5 hours into my work day, and I decided to, at the time, take a routine smoking break. I went downstairs to the side of my building, and I lit up my cigarette, and about 2 minutes into me enjoying my cigarette break, a squad car pulled up and screeched in front of me. 3 officers jumped out, and they said to me, "What the hell are you doing here?" Before I could respond, I said to them, "Why am I?" And I was thrown against the wall. One of the officers held me against my chest, up against the wall, while another officer pulled out his gun and aimed it towards me. Another officer reached into all of my pockets and pulled out my belongings. About 2 minutes into this ordeal, finally one of the officers pulled out my work identification card and realized that I did in fact actually work at the building in question. Once the officers started to get back into their vehicles, I will admit I did mumble under my breath that I was being stopped because of my race. The officers didn't like that at all. One of the officers came charging at me, and his partner had to grab him and restrain him and actually forcibly put him back into his squad car. This is just one example of the many times that I've been stopped and frisked. I'm a college graduate. I've never committed a crime. I'm African American, as you can see. I take care of my family. I take care of my mom, my sister, my little brother, and I work every day. In my spare time, I'm an activist as well. I don't think that anyone, myself, I don't think anyone should be subjected to this practice. It's demoralizing. It's terrifying. I'm a kickboxer. I've never felt so helpless before in my entire life. Nowadays, when I see the police, I do become fearful. I want to compel you, I want to implore you to pass this piece of legislation. It's extremely important that you guys create this protection for New Yorkers like myself and others. We need it. We don't deserve this type of treatment. I feel like I live in a police state. And that's not the country I thought I was raised in. So, that's my testimony.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank all of you for testifying. Because we have so many, we're going to keep our commentary to